Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today we are back to work over here on the big monster cane mill project, and I'm going to kind of pick up where we left off. We're working on getting these shafting here, the drive shafting that powers this big gear, getting it ready to pour Babbitt bearings on. We've already got the shafts turned down, the size that we need, got them all polished up and ready to go. Today what we need to do is get a pouring mandrel built to actually pour the bearings on and get the little dam pieces that we will do out of some discs, kind of like we did for the big gear up here at the top, get some of those made and get this set up to actually pour the bearings, and who knows, maybe even get the bottom halves poured in this video. We'll see how far we get. Let's get at it. So I'm working on the pouring mandrel that we're going to use for these. I basically have already got one side, this side is turned down to the size it's going to be for the finished journals, and I'm turning down the other side now. Didn't show the whole process, but you guys have seen this before. Basically we're just trying to make these journals the size that we want to pour against, and then we'll go from there to the Babbitt bearing setup and pour them. Taking about 100 thousandths per pass here, having to take one full pass and a partial pass to get down to my measurement, which is 2.655, I think is what it is. And I'll turn them just a little bit oversized. Just makes it a little bit easier to scrape in. When you tighten up those bearings, you usually shrink them down a little bit, so if you make them just a couple of thou oversized, it just kind of makes the whole process go a little bit better, because those bearings will shrink as they cool, and when they shrink, it kind of tightens them up. All right, we got our first pass just about done. I'll put my finished pass on there, and we'll have this pouring mandrel knocked out. So here we go. We got our shafts again. These are ready to pour or ready to use. We got everything turned down to size. This is the pouring mandrel that we're going to use to actually pour on. So these journals are the same size as the journals on the actual shafts, and but this is where I can get my little pouring dams up on them. Some of these, because of the gear here in the middle, it's going to be hard to do that. The keys in these, it's going to be hard to do that. This one here, that key is actually in the Babbitt pour series, so we poured it would fill in there. So using the pouring mandrel is going to allow us to kind of get around that one. Some of these problems. You know, we got a smaller diameter, a larger diameter, so I'd have to have a really big diameter to fit up over this shaft on that pouring dam, and it wouldn't be very tight. So the pouring mandrel kind of addresses some of those issues, and we just made this out of some material that I was able to pick up fairly inexpensively for this, just some material. It's nothing special. So anyway, let's get our dams made out of some disc, and I think we'll be ready to set these up and pour. I'm over here at the Wells Index vertical milling machine now, and we're getting ready to set it up to bore out these little discs, similar like we did the ones we did for the larger bearing. These are much smaller though. Instead of having the boring bar sticking out the end, I can just go down with it and bore down this way. The whole head actually won't fit through the center of this. A little bit smaller diameter. I've got this pretty well centered up, good enough for what we're doing. The outside of these don't have to run true. We just need to get a bore that is true all the way down, and these need to be whatever size that is. What is it, 2-inch, 655 or something like that. I'll have to double check my measurement. We got a ways to go. We're about 2 3/8 I think right now. So let's get this thing ready to roll. I'm just going to make a little bit of a light pass this first time, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to go the other way. And we'll engage our down feed. And we'll just let that bore all the way through. Looks like we're centered up pretty good. These were just cut out on a CNC plasma cutter, so they're a little rough on the inside. Once we get through this first pass, it ought to go a lot cleaner. We're through our second disc, starting our third. All right, we are down the bottom there. Pull it out. We'll stop it. And I'm just going to dial in. We were doing 50 thousandths the other day, and that seemed to be doing pretty good. So we're going to do the same thing here, 50 thousandths per pass. Make another pass. There we go. We're getting close to being on size here. I believe that after this pass right here, we're going to have to dial in for our final cut. We'll get a good measurement after this pass and double check that, but we're getting real close. All right, here out the bottom. That's good measurement here. I'm just measuring with these calipers. It's not super accurate. We're at 645. We're going to 655, so I need about 10 more thousandths. Dial that in. 10. And I'm just going a little bit oversize. This should be the final pass. Tighten those up. All right, so what we need to do now is cut a step in here. So this will sit over in that little shelf and position the shaft. The shaft, just roughly 2 11/16. The shelf is 3 1/4 inches, 3 1/4 inches, 3.250. So that's what the diameter that needs to be in. We'll go about half the thickness of this 3/8 inch thickness, just roughly. So let's turn these out. And I'm going to come over here and just touch off. We're going to go in about 3 1/4 inches. According to my digital readout, I'm going to go a little oversized and we'll turn it down. We'll just go about right there. And go ahead and space that material out. All right, now I'm going to focus on turning this to the diameter. Calipers on that, get a good measurement, make sure my DRO is reading correctly for this. We're measuring 385. That's pretty much where we're at on the digital readout. So we're just going to go to 3.250. All right, this should be the final diameter. Just going to go into the face and I'm going to back all the way out. There we go. And we'll just come in here and break these corners real quick. The first one. So finally, now you can kind of see the finished pouring mandrel here with the spacers, dams all built into it. So again, our journals are turned down to the same size as the journals are going to be running on the bearings. They're actually just a little bit oversized to allow for some shrinkage to occur and for things to fit without having to do a whole lot of scraping to get them turned in. And then these end caps here are designed so that that step fits down on this inner part, but yet there's a flange that covers the outer part. We'll take some clamps and we'll put some damming material in here, get all this dammed up. That just keeps the Babbitt from pouring out. But I think we are ready now to get these bearing shelves, our shelves cleaned up. I need to get in there with a wire wheel and get that primer out and get it all ready with the damming material and properly positioned in place. We're ready to put some heat in this and pour some bearings. So and we can use the same mandrel on the other side as well. Same setup over there exactly, same size journals, everything's the same. So we can just use that mandrel twice to get all these bearings poured. All right, let's move on. So I need to get in here and get all this primer out of these shells. So I just got a wire wheel on an angle grinder, and we're gonna get in here and just clean that up as best we can. All right, I think we got those cleaned out. Let's get these things set up with the arbor. Let's bring our pouring mandrel in. Get my spacers kind of positioned here where they need to go. And that looks pretty good. And I'm going to take my Deacon mold pack here, and I think I'm going to try something a little bit different this time. I think I'm going to actually put a little bit of material kind of in between these pieces. Just a little thin layer in there to kind of help seal that gap up. I don't want much. And because we're only doing the bottom halves right now, I don't need to do it all the way around. I'm just going to go halfway around. And I'm going to take a clamp and kind of clamp these together. And when I do, hopefully that'll kind of squeeze in there. All right, you came off. Come on back on there. There we go. Let that squeeze in there and help kind of seal that up. Now this one I'm going to probably have to, let's see, do it over here on the mandrel. This is something I thought about. I haven't really ever done this before, but I'm going to give it a try. You know, the whole idea of this damming material is to prevent the molten Babbitt from being able to escape out of those ends, and you know, it's just kind of like a little gasket in there. At least that's my thought. When we put the clamp on it, it should pull it up tight. I'm still going to put more around them, but I've had issues sometimes when this stuff gets really hot. It kind of loses its grip and falls off, and then you got a place for your Babbitt to come out. This Babbitt would be trapped in there and wouldn't be able to go anywhere. So we're going to give it a try. I'm just trying something different here. All right, I'm going to squeeze that one in there. Get it up on that little ledge, and let me get a clamp, and I'm going to clamp those. I just take this little F clamp, and we'll come in here and kind of clamp that in place. We'll put one on each side. Let's see if I got enough room to get these in here. I think I do. And now I'm going to take my damming material and go all the way around the outside of these just for added insurance. That shouldn't leak like it is, but we're not going to take any chances. We're going to make sure it's sealed up good. Work our way around this outer edge here. Make sure that's dammed up really good. I've got my Babbitt kind of simmering over here, melting down, getting hot. So I've already kind of got some bars melted down in here. Again, we're using the tin base Babbitt here, a food safe Babbitt on these. And we're going to let this heat up. I'm going to go ahead and start putting some heat into the castings and the mandrels, get that preheated, and we'll get this first pour done. So I'm just coming in here and checking the temperature of the casting kind of before I get started. We're at 75 degrees roughly right now according to the infrared thermometer. And I'd like to get this up around 250 is really kind of seems to be the nice place to be on this. So I get my torch out and we'll start heating this up. All right, here we go. Start putting some heat in here. I'm gonna go ahead and heat up both sides at the same time. We'll do the first pour and see how much Babbitt I got and decide whether I need to melt some more before I do the second side. I got 2 ladles going over there. Considerably smaller pours than the last ones that we did on the bigger ones, so probably got more than enough Babbitt in those 2 ladles to do these 2 journals, so we'll see. And we'll go ahead and just give us some time here to get these all heated up. I'll be checking it with my infrared thermometer periodically, and like I said, I'm shooting to have the casting about 250 degrees. We're coming in here with our infrared thermometer, and we are up plenty hot enough on this side. Let me go skim my Babbitt and we'll pour these. All right, here we go. I'm gonna pour these as quickly as I can. Let that Babbitt get it right up there to the top. And that one's good. All right, we'll let this one cool down. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little more preheat on the other side, and we'll get it ready to pour. And here we come with number 2. Here we go. Well, I've let this thing cool down for a little while. It's still pretty warm. I shot it with the infrared thermometer and it's saying about 150 degrees right now, but I think it's cool enough that we can pull this shaft out and maybe try to get the other side set up. We'll see how it goes, if I can handle it okay. Get this damming material out of here first. All right, pull our clamps off. So we can knock these end caps off first, at least get them loose. All right. Now, I think what I'll do is I'm just going to take the gantry and put it on there and see if I can just lift up on this center section here and pull it out. All right, let's see if we can get this out of here. Yeah, it's gonna come right on out. Taking a little bit of force, but nothing too terrible. All right, that one is out. And the bearings, just taking a quick peek at them, look pretty nice. All right, so those came out nice and smooth. I don't see any issues in those whatsoever. I am going to let these just kind of cool down a little bit more, and we'll get in here with a file and clean up the tops of these a little bit. But yeah, I'm happy with that. That turned out just fine. And we are ready, I think, to go to the other side and get it poured. All right, I got my pouring mandrel set up here on the other side. We've got the dams in place. We got it all dammed up with the damming material. Everything should be sealed up. We should be ready to start putting some heat in here. I've got my Babbitt on simmering over there. So we're ready to start heating up these journals and getting ready for round 2 of Babbitt pouring. So once again, we're heating up our baling shelves. I got my torch going here, and like to get this up to about 250 degrees for our Babbitt pour. And here we come with the Babbitt for our first pour. We'll just pour it right in. That'll cast right to that mandrel. And we'll let that cool down. And here we go with pour number 2. There we go. We'll let that one cool down. All right, I've given this a couple hours to cool down, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of knock these spacers out. And then we're going to try to pull this shaft out, and I just got it up on my gantry, and we'll just pull it straight up here. Put a little tension on there. There we go. All right, we are free to get that out of there. And just a quick look, those bearings look good. All right. Well, here we go, taking a look at these, and these also turned out really nice. Got a little bit of bubbling down in the bottom of this one for some reason, but nothing terrible. Nothing. It's just a place for oil to collect. Not a problem at all. It's below the surface, but these are all look great. This side, I don't know. It's probably cool enough. I mean, it's warm, but it's not terribly hot. This side over here is probably fine. I can go ahead and start cleaning these up, and I want to put my shafts in here and just kind of test them out. And from there, we will have to work on the top bearings. Let me get these cleaned up a little bit. Come in here with a cold chisel. I'm just going to try to chisel out some of this waste where I can salvage it, pour it back over there, melt it back down. This Babbitt's expensive stuff, so I like to save as much of it as I can. I'll go back in the melting pot. Let me finish this out here. I'm going to try a little bit different file here. This one kind of has a circular cut. I usually use a horseshoe or rasp, farrier's rasp, but I've seen these. They actually made a version of this that says a Babbitt file on it, so I'm going to try this out. That is actually cutting real nice. All right, we get the other ones done. Same process here. All right, we got the tops leveled out. Now I'm going to take a bearing scraper, and just like before, I'm not scraping these for fit right now. I'm just kind of cleaning up the surface finish on these. There's a little bit of roughness in there, a little bit of oxidation on it. So this is a bearing scraper designed for scraping round bearings like this. And I'm just going to go through here and just lightly scrape the surface here. And like I said, just kind of get that little oxidation layer off and freshen them up a little bit. All right, we've got these scraped. I'm just going to go ahead and clean this up with the shop vac real quick, and we'll test them with the shafts. And that's where we're going to kind of stop right now. Just kind of scraped a little bit in there, got this cleaned up. Let's go get our shaft and put it in here and see how they fit. This shaft is just a little bit too heavy for me to handle by myself. So we'll use the gantry crane to help out with the lifting and drop this right in place. See if I can get this strap out of here now. A little bit on the tight side, but not by much. It is turning. Put a little oil on them and see if that helps. Just put a little bit on here. It ain't gonna take a whole lot. Yeah, that's a little bit tighter than what I like, but we can do some scraping and scrape that one out a little bit more to get it to fit. But it's good enough for right now. Let's do the same thing over here. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little oil in these. This one doesn't have any gears on it right now. But it's going to go in right there. And it too is a little bit on the tight side. But it is turning. All right. That tells me what I need to know. For right now, I'm going to pull these gears back out and we're going to get set up to pour the top halves on these. But once again, we are one step closer with these bottom bearing halves poured. I've still got to do the top halves. I've got the caps here ready to mount over here. We're going to have to cut some shims for these, get these mounted on here, get these prepped for Babbitt pour like we did the other ones as well. And yeah, get these knocked out. So once we get these top ones done and get those scraped in, we'll get the actual gears mounted in here and check everything out for a really good fit. But so far, so good. I think we're in good shape here. Just moving on forward. With that, guys, that is a wrap. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Those thumbs up and comments are always greatly appreciated. They help out a lot with the algorithms over on YouTube. Big, huge thank you to those who support the site financially through Patreon and PayPal. Enables me to take the time to shoot these videos, edit the videos, do all the work that goes on behind the scenes in this one-man shop that I'm working in. I get to do it all. So any help you can give out there really helps get these videos put out to you guys. And with that, guys, we are going to sign off. We're going to get out of here. We'll catch you on the next video. Again, thanks for watching.